Zubimendi again. And Saka!
Yes, guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Football for Thought podcast. My name is Senal and I'm your host. And once again, I'm joined by Lahiru, my co host. Today, we are breaking down the hard fought 1-0 game against Fulham. It wasn't the easiest game to watch because not a lot happened, but as always, VAR controversies, another penalty we weren't given, and another set piece goal. So, Lahiru, what are your thoughts on yesterday's game?
Not many thoughts. It's a 1-0 game. I could do with 1-0, 2-0 games with no shots on our goal for the rest of the season. Give me 30 games of like this and we win the title.
How amazing was it to score yet another set piece? Rival tears are all over the place.
Yeah, I love doing the very thing they hit. I mean, all of a sudden, the set pieces are not really good goals. I mean, I've listened to 10 years of how Arsenal are not good at set pieces.
Yeah, and bad at defending set pieces, can't score a set piece. But now we've scored 7 this season. And to be honest, Chelsea have scored 6. So I'm wondering why they have gone under the radar. The next best is Fulham and a few other teams with 3. But once again, who gets his head on the end of the ball? It's Gabriel.
Yeah, that was a really well worked set piece actually, because I mean, I watched how Sky broke it down, and I thought they broke it down really well, the goal. The fact that Trossard moves ahead of Raul Jimenez just to get in front of him to head the second ball, I mean, that was really good movement. It was really pre-planned. There were like really strong signs of that being something they tried in the training ground.
Definitely, yeah, because even when Gabriel went for the header, you can see the way he turned his head, he wanted to glance it, like he wasn't aiming at the goal. A very deft touch. Trossard was in the perfect place and a very underrated finish, I would say, because he had to use his thigh and get it in between Leno and the defender who was on the line, which is probably Jimenez. So, a lot of players fail to adjust their body in time, but Trossard, once again, 64 goal contributions for the Arsenal since he's joined, and he gets a lot of stick, and you can see why sometimes he does ghost during games or doesn't have much of an impact, but when there's a chance to score, he's there.
I know we were all okay with selling Trossard or Martinelli, but so far both of them have contributed in goals and assists and have got us wins in the Champions League or in the Premier League. And Trossard is that kind of player who you can count on to finish well, like because he doesn't always have a good game when he starts. He has his impact off the bench, but you can see at crucial moments, he knows how to find space and how to score the goals. And that's extremely valuable when you're talking about a team that scores goals in kind of like a collective manner, because we don't have this one, like a big goal scorer like Haaland. We try and score goals as a team, So in a setup like that, I think it's very important to have a clutch moments player like Trossard.
I saw a stat that there have been 10 different goal scorers for Arsenal this season. And currently, there's one player who's outshining our own striker, Gyökeres, which is Ricardo Calafiori. What do we have on our hands here?
Yeah, he's like your typical Maverick kind of player. I mean, I haven't seen this kind of a player in an Arsenal setup for a long time, and I never expected it to be a defender of all players. But he's so good, like you can't really call him a left back. Like yesterday, actually, I thought it was the most left back kind of performance, because you can see that he tried to go outside their right back and he crossed in a few times to Gyökeres, and he did spend a little bit more time near the center line in the half spaces between the center line and their box. But other than that, he just pops up in the most dangerous positions, and the overall goal was such a good finish.
Just a reminder to hit the like button and subscribe if you're enjoying our content. It helps us more than you can imagine.
I mean, at least by Arsenal standards, would have been a contender for a goal of the season. Maybe not the goal of the season, but definitely a contender if it stood. It was so well taken.
Yeah, and first of all, why is he inside the penalty box? And secondly, on the bounce, half volley, almost in the top right corner, just under the top right, and the timing, because, I mean, I'm sure you've played football and so have I. To time the ball when it's in the air, when you're side footing it, is so much harder than when it's on the ground. And he didn't even have time to think. he just adjusted his body and swung his foot. Phenomenal technique. And not just that, there was a corner kick a couple of minutes later where a cross came in and he just took it on the volley effortlessly. He didn't put much power on it, but he guided it and it just went over the top left.
I think that is the point about Calafiori, what you just mentioned about this instinct to just go for it. That is what sets him apart from other goal scoring defenders or even other goal scorers, because they try and deliberate on it. They try to take an extra touch to find the half yard that will get them to score in a better way. But this guy just goes for it. His instinct is to shoot. And when you're talking about that from a defender of all players in a team, I mean, that's like having an extra attacker.
Yeah, and what I like about him is, how Arsenal just keep probing and passing and left, right, pass it around the box, trying to knit a pass through. Calafiori, he just took it, shifted his body, cut inside, and went on his right foot and got a corner kick out of it. And it was after a sequence of play with about 10 passes from right to left, just being circled around. And it was such a breath of fresh air to see it. And it was cleared in terms of there was a deflection, and that's how it went for a corner kick. But he could have easily deflected off the defender's foot and gone in because Leno had gone to the other side.
Yeah, I know. And I think in a clearly like well-structured team like Arsenal, who is, I'm sure, coached to like the nth degree, like we are so detail-oriented in our setup. I think Arteta, it's a really good weapon for Arteta to have, like in a player like Calafiori, who can just break the mold, kind of come up with something out of the left field and just go for something, go for the crucial moments where you know that everything is kind of premeditated and planned, but you have this maverick of a player who can create something out of nothing that will really shock the opposition defenders.
Before we go into a more player-focused segment of this podcast, I want to talk about the penalty, the VAR incident, because that was huge. We could have easily closed the game. Either Kevin gets Saka's knee at the same time that he gets the ball. And it's so difficult to say whether it was before or at the same time, but it's definitely not after. So it's definitely not clear and obvious. And still, VAR took so long and they took it away. Like, it makes no sense.
So my issue with that penalty call is that if the on-field ref didn't give the penalty, I'd have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. But the fact that he gave it and the VAR, in a very predictable way, again, just like after Newcastle, tried to re-referee this whole setup and, told the on-field referee to, kind of, egged him to change his mind because from what I've read afterwards, apparently the VAR footage wasn't good. Like the referee wasn't presented with like a full replay of the entire action. It's just like a few shots of the foul or of the motion that led to the penalty. My view is that if it's not a clear and obvious error, and it wasn't a clear and obvious error because it wasn't like he totally missed the ball and got Saka or totally missed Saka and got the ball. There's a 50-50 call there, right? How I feel about it is that if it was against us, right, and if the referee gave it, right, I would be like, okay, that makes, it's arguable, it's debatable, but I can see why he gave it. But if he didn't give it, I would have still been like, yeah, obviously, he still gets the ball if it was against us. But the same way I feel when he gave the call against Fulham, they should have just stuck with the on-field call.
Yeah, and what's even crazier is that they didn't have clear footage of what's happening at that point. And then how can a referee even make a decision when he's sent to the monitor? He has to go with his original decision. And even versus Newcastle, when Pope tackled Gyökeres, the referees are just being guided towards making a decision, and it makes no sense. Like, all of these are not going viral because we have ended up winning these games. It's crazy, like already 2 in 6 or 7 games, which is not a good start. And we had the same thing last season, and it costed us a lot of points. And it's happening again. And I'm only seeing this with Arsenal.
Yeah, and I really don't like this notion that when the referee is sent back to the screen, it's like a given that he's going to change his mind now. He's going to change his opinion, his original call, which is nuts because you will hear all these Kai and all these broadcasters, these analysts and commentators say that they're not re-refereeing the game. They're only asking the referee to have another look at it. Okay, if they're just asking the referee to have another look at it, that doesn't obviously mean then he should change his mind. But now it's like a given when the referee is sent to the screen, he's going to change his mind, right? So that is in a way being re-refereed because you're intervening with the original call and you're intervening on a premise that it's not a clear and obvious error, because it's not a clear and obvious error, because you can see why it can be a penalty and why it can probably not be a penalty, right? So the referee took his call, so let him have it. Let him, stay with it.
Every week this is happening, and there's gonna be a time that we can't bail ourselves out, and once again we're just gonna lose points.
But I have to say that I was really impressed with how Arteta kind of approached it, because you can see he has diluted his approach towards commenting on referees' calls. He was very kind of not aggressive, calm. I know it's easy because we took the 3 points, but I think it helps in the long run. And I think he also would have matured and understood that given how the English football climate is, given how the media climate is around English football, they're going to side with the referees. You will only find very handful of commentators who will not side with the referees, and that helps the referees to be as incompetent as they are. That is just part of the big problem. But if you are trying to win a title in the middle of all of this, in this context, you have to somehow, sail with it and just get it over the line.
It's like, human nature, I'd say, when the referees know that they are being attacked, as they should be, they're just like, it's a 50-50, why don't I give it? Because even in a previous podcast, we spoke about Mark Clattenburg, saying, I should have sent off a Leicester City player, but I didn't because I wanted them to win the game. So any 50-50 is decided through bias. So already the referees are against Arteta for a long time. They don't let him go outside the technical area. They don't let him celebrate with the team. They look to give him yellow cards for every little thing compared to other managers. So, personally, I think it's too far gone for Arteta to build his relationship with the referees. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help when he complains about it, because nothing has changed for 5 years. There's at least a small chance that we might get a few kind decisions if he doesn't go too hard on them. And to be fair, we did get the pen versus Newcastle and Fulham on field. So hopefully that's a turn for the good in the coming fixtures. Yeah, it's VAR is just such a downer every time we bring up this topic. So yeah, let's go to a more player focused segment, and starting off with Ebere Eze in the 10. I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. There's this huge conversation in the Arsenal fan base that he's Ødegaard's replacement. He can do what Ødegaard does. But I always thought that he is more suited for that left half space between the flank and the middle, because a lot of people are under this impression that Eze can play in that creative midfielder role because he did the same for Palace. But then you're missing the very crucial point about Palace. Palace play a counter-attacking game. So when they attack back, there are a lot of spaces for him to drift in that 10 position and make very good chances. But when you play for Arsenal are almost always facing a low block or a mid block. So we are not going to be attacking into big spaces most of the time. So you need someone like Ødegaard, someone like Ozil, someone like Cazorla maybe, to kind of find those very small spaces, do the triangle passes very quickly, 1-2s, and find space and make the chances. So I think if you have like a player who is very much on the ball, like Ødegaard, because I believe a 10 should have the maximum touches of the ball, other than the goalkeeper and probably one of the central defenders like Saliba or Gabriel. Because of our setup, they have a lot of touches. Other than them, I think the 10 or the creative midfielder should have the highest number of touches in the game, because if you have the highest number of touches, that means you have the highest possibility of creating something. But Eze averaged, he had about, I think, 30 odd touches yesterday. I saw the stat. And Saka, on the other hand, had 80 plus touches in one game, and he plays on the right flank. So that is not good. And he either has to improve, or we just have to be okay with the fact that he's going to play off the left, like we all thought he's gonna when Ødegaard comes back in, because Ødegaard and Eze operating in the middle and the left is a deadly combination. I would say that it's going to really help us. But Eze in that 10 role, I don't think so far from what we have seen is really cutting it. I think maybe because he's also getting used to this new style of play, but he has to drop back a bit. He has to get onto the ball more. He needs to combine with Trossard, Gyökeres, Saka, Rice more. But he didn't do it yesterday, and it's not the first time he didn't do it either. So maybe till Ødegaard comes, get Nwaneri, because Nwaneri does it. Nwaneri drops back, he gets on the ball more, he tries to create more. So get Eze on the left and Nwaneri in the middle, because I think against Palace, which is a very defensive team, but I think their defense is kind of shading a bit now. Yesterday it was a 3-goal match against Bournemouth, against Burnley, against Sunderland, which are very winnable matches. We'll be facing a low block, so maybe kind of get some movement in that 10% with Nwaneri and Eze off the left.
I believe that Nwaneri needs a bit more game time, but I think in Arteta's mind, he's just trying to integrate Eze as soon as he can into this team, and he has definitely played a couple of positions so far. Like he has played on the left wing, he has played at cam, he has played right centre mid. So I think it's just a lot of information for him. But yeah, as you said, whenever Palace attack, you just see men flowing forward, and Eze just seems to have so much time on the ball and so much space because even the defenders are running back. With Arsenal, when Ødegaard plays, we sometimes take it for granted, but when he's not there, we can clearly see a difference because at the end of the day, he doesn't lose the ball. He always finds a way to keep it and keeps recycling play. And Eze, we saw him lose the ball a lot. Obviously, Fulham had about 5 midfielders and 3 surrounding him every time he got it, but we did lose possession a couple of times, and Eze looked like he didn't have the usual time he has on the ball. But we've seen Ødegaard for years, whatever circumstance, like even if he's having a bad game, he can find space and keep the ball and use his body to either win a foul or keep the ball moving. And obviously, our biggest asset of Ødegaard is him leading the press, and Eze still has a long way to go to get to that level. So yeah, we really need to get Ødegaard back.
Yeah, and you combine that with Gyökeres, who is also still adapting into the way this team plays. It's kind of like a handicap then, because Ødegaard can retain possession. He recycles the ball if it's a tight spot. He can get out of really tight spots. I'm not saying Eze can't. Eze very well can, but maybe he can do it against low blocks better off the left, because low blocks are usually what Arsenal play against.
Yeah, and even Gyökeres, we can move on to him. He got a couple of shooting chances thanks to Saka's man of the match performance in terms of through balls and just the space that was opened up for Gyökeres. Like he had a chance to get a shot off on his left foot. He skied it into row Z. Then he had a couple of chances to turn his man and get the shot off, but it was kind of straight at Leno. Like obviously not clear-cut chances, but I feel like he could have done better. And it's 7 league games without a goal for Gyökeres, 9 if you count club and country in all competitions.
10.
Is it? So we had
10. I think,
one Champions League game and
he played the League Cup game as well. I think definitely 10, maybe more with the national team game.
Because I'm just comparing it with Havertz. I think he would have gotten a lot more stick if Havertz went like 10 games without a goal. Because even if he went 4 to 5 games, everyone was on his back. So Gyökeres is getting a bit of time because he is new. But
we gave Havertz a lot of stick in his first season, remember? We used to get frustrated with Havertz a lot.
That's true. Yeah, he took 15 games to, get back to what he was. But the thing is, Gyökeres is an out-and-out striker, and he's on the back of 97 goals in 102 games. So there's a bit of expectation there, but yeah, hopefully he gets better. At the end of the day, it's a 63 million pound signing. So, if it doesn't work out, it's not too bad. It's not like Darwin Núñez for like 80 million or Sesko for 90 million.
Isak for 120.
Isak, yeah. But the thing is, like, it's inevitable that he comes good. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it could be today, no? They're playing against United.
Yeah.
I mean, today might be the day Wirtz gets a goal.
Yeah, he's on 0011, if I'm not mistaken. Like, from 007 to now, like, Ocean's 11. Yeah, we got Gyökeres, we got Eze, what else can we say about Saka? He's back to his best. What we saw in the international break, he scored a banger, he came back, and now he's unlocked the nutmeg trait because he gave a through ball. I can't remember who it was for. It was someone on the right side, either Zubimendi or. Yeah, it was Zubimendi. Yes, he did that drag back through ball, nutmeg, which I've seen Ødegaard do against Brighton in that black kit. 2 years ago. He did that, and then on the left side, when he was attacking, it was not too clear whether it was a nutmeg or not, but he did a small shimmy, got the ball across the defender, and had a shot, and Leno parried it into the center, and Gyökeres was just unlucky not to have the ball fall towards him.
Yeah, and it's a proper captain's performance as well. He was the captain yesterday, and I think has realized. I mean, when you look at how he speaks after the match, he said he took some rubbish corners, so he's very kind of he knows exactly what went wrong with his game and what went right. And I think we can see after the injury last season, really coming back to his best. I still think he's not really there. I think he has, I think probably another level, another gear to go, but he's very close. And if he explodes and if we have a full season of peak Saka, I think we will get some really big moments towards the end of the season because if you think about Salah when he was 24, he wasn't doing this. Salah came to his peak. He started doing what he does now at the age of 27, 28. But Saka is doing at 24. And, given the kind of context that was around him being compared to Foden and Palmer and even that George guy at Chelsea, whoever that fellow's name was. Yeah. I mean, come on, like the disrespect towards this boy who is clearly world class. He's a world class player. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even some Arsenal fans have trouble, getting to grips with how good he is, because we are always thinking about other team players and whatnot. It's just nonsense in my point of view. He's bloody good and he's like our star player. And I think every title winning team, every Champions League winning team has that star player. We need that star player. And this guy is our man.
Yeah, that's why Madueke coming in is essential to keep Saka fit. And also yesterday, no one's even talking about it, but Saka had an all-timer performance. Like the touches, the way he beat Sessegnon multiple times, and it was just unbelievable. It's such an all-round game. All it missed was a goal, and he was being double teamed as well, and still he managed to get so many crosses in. So yeah, Saka is just like he was 2 points away from being a Premier League champion. So if he had that, he's world class. But it's just one game going here and there, so it's clear that he's world class. And once again, Gabriel and Saliba. 2 games in a row, back-to-back Premier League games without conceding a shot on target. We need these two to stay forever. You'll never find a better pair in world football right now.
Monster performance. I mean, these like classic Italian defenders kind of vibe coming from them, who they don't give an inch to the opposition players. And to think they do this in this Premier League era, which is really good. I mean, the best defensive team in the history of the Premier League is Mourinho's Chelsea team in 04-05 that conceded like 15 goals or something. And that is considered to be the best Premier League defense. But they are on track to match that. But matching that in this Premier League era, which is highly competitive, so attack-oriented, so many good attackers in the time of Haaland. I mean, was there a Haaland back then? There was Henry, right? And there were, Chelsea, who did they have? Drogba. United had a few players. Ronaldo wasn't in his prime at the time. He was not even, I think he was just starting out in United. So you had Henry, but other than that, you didn't have these, exceptionally good attackers in the Premier League. But doing that now in this era where there's Isaac, there is Salah, there's Haaland, there's the Newcastle attack, the Bournemouth, the Semenyos, in this Premier League era, doing that is, I think, it's phenomenal. And if they continue this rate, this will kind of, get us over the margins. This kind of defense, I think this is like an elite form of defense. You have Timber and you have Calafiori, because everyone worried about Calafiori's defensive instincts. He's really good in defense. He tracks back, he marks the player, he doesn't give the attacker space. Because yesterday, Traore, what did Traore get? I mean, he completely closed down Traore. And Traore is kind of like a beast. He's literally a beast.
So quick,
so quick, and so like an armored tank running at you. Calafiori just, kind of, put him in a corner and, let him be there. So this defense is going to get us those little details to go our way and hopefully get us over the line.
Yeah, and the difference in this Premier League era is every team is now a system. So they're not shooting from outside the box. They're creating a lot of high XG chances inside the box or just outside. So it's even harder for defenders. So the fact that they're doing it now is phenomenal. Like the athleticism and the relationships and the distances they keep, because they all move around. Calafiori is a striker, a centre mid, a cam, a right mid, left mid. So when that happens, Gabriel and Saliba are like a three-man defense with the other fullback, which is Timber or whoever who's dropped in. So even with all of that, they're managing to keep like 8 clean sheets in 11 games and 1 from open play. So they made 1 mistake in 11 games, which is unreal. And even the second goal we conceded at Newcastle was a mistake from Mosquera, not even Gabriel and Saliba.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of things, that is the thing. That is a very encouraging thing. The 3 goals we conceded, like you can concede those goals. I mean, those are not really, those things happen. Like Mosquera, putting the ball out into the corner, Gabriel and Saliba not reading Haaland, not really reading the break of play in the City game, and the Szoboszlai's phenomenal free kick. Those things happen. But the fact that Arteta and his coaching staff has realized that the best way to not concede goals is, one, not let them take shots inside your box and not let them take shots at all at your goal, and also keep the ball away from your penalty box. I mean, we get a lot of unfair stick about being a set piece oriented club. The reason why we don't have shots on our on our goal is because the ball is not in our half. We are so territorially dominant. We keep pressing that team back, and we generate so much of field tilt in our favor that gets us the set pieces, that gets us the chances, that creates the XG for us. So this is like a all-round game. The fact that we are defensively solid means we are so attack-oriented as well. We are so far away from our own goal. We don't play our game in our half, period.
Yeah, and even Mourinho's team, which conceded 15 goals, they played the game in their half. We play it in the opposition half. But yeah, I mean, we have run out of superlatives to describe our defense. So, I mean, closing in, let's go into the upcoming fixtures and how the league might pan out. In just 2 days, we are playing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, and I've heard that Atletico don't park the bus like they used to, and I don't really follow La Liga, so what are your thoughts on that? Are we going to see an attacking Atletico Madrid?
I think we will see. I don't think we'll see an extremely attacking Atletico Madrid against us, because teams change their approach when they play Arsenal, especially at Arsenal. They're playing away, right? So I don't expect Simeone to all of a sudden go, helter-skelter on us and, really attack us. Because if the history has shown anything, if you attack Arteta's teams, you get pulled apart. You get blown away. 4-0, 5-0 is what happens if you attack us. So I don't think he'll do that, but I think he is more attacking than he used to be. Especially because if you factor in Alvarez, who is like on sensational form, he's so good, and he has Griezmann, he has quite a few players there. So I don't think they will like really come at us, but I don't think they will sit back a lot either. So they might actually mid-block us and try and generate counters against us. So we have to be on our guard. But I think it's a game we can win, especially since we are playing at home as well. And if we win that game, we are in a really good position, even in the league phase in the Champions League. That is 9 points out of 9. We are already 6 out of 6. And I think we are like nailed on to finish in the top 8 if we continue that run in the Champions League. So yeah, it should be doable.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important game, and we could see towards the end of the Palace game, the end of the Fulham game, Declan Rice he was exhausted. He was like barely running at full speed, and you could see that he was dragging his body trying to keep up with a few players, because at the end of the day, we played 100 minutes yesterday. But yes, after Atletico Madrid, 3 days later, we play Crystal Palace. This one's at home, so we should win. After that, Brighton in the FA Cup, a brilliant 4:45 a.m. game for me. And after that, we play Burnley literally 2 days later. So, the players have to stay fit, and hopefully Madueke will be back to take the load off Saka. And after that, Slavia Prague and Sunderland before the international break. So it's a really, really good run. I'm praying just no injuries, because if our current 11 is fit, we can win every game here. Even Atletico Madrid, because we are at home. So there's a lot to expect. But yeah, any final thoughts before we end the podcast?
How many goals do you think United will lose by today?
Honestly, my gut feeling is they'll pull off something. They'll pull off a 1-1. But, if they're going to lose, I want another 7-0.
Yeah,
But
might as well. Huh?
Yeah, of course. Like, I know GD is going to help Liverpool, but at the end of the day, like, we need to get more points than them. So I'm not really looking towards GD, but it's not looking like Liverpool will score that much, because, they don't have the same attack they had, unless Isak just, turns a corner today.
Yeah, but if United play Delict, Euro, and Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw is a really big problem on the right-hand side, and if he's going to come up against Salah.
All right, and that concludes the 4th episode for Football for Thought. Please leave a like and subscribe, and see you next week. Cheers.